Okay, everybody, Dr. Chad Peters here. I am a chiropractor in South Texas, and we are going to go over the human body. Now, this one is basically a lecture built for about the 3rd and 4th grade age group. I noticed when my kids were doing their homeschooling stuff, because now they're at home and they were learning from their science teacher, they were covering the skeletal system. I'm like, yeah, man, I love the skeletal system. And this is the stuff I love. I really like the teaching. I like bringing the different human body stuff to real life. I do a lot with university age and high school age and kind of making your A&P and anatomy and physiology come alive. And I'm like, I can do this for 3rd grade too. So if any of you guys decide you want to share this and you want it out there, you don't have to ask permission. Just please use the thing and get it out there. And hopefully it's good for your class. It's what you're looking for. Guys, if you're watching me and your kids, I like the human body. I love the way it works. I love all these different systems. And probably you guys have started learning about some of these systems in your schooling. You've probably gone over the skeletal system, which is how your bones work together. Maybe you've done the cardiac system, your heart, and how it gets the blood all over the body. There's a digestive system, what you eat and what happens after you eat. Pulmonary, like your lungs. Muscular system. We all love the muscular system, especially you guys that play sports. You want to get better and stronger. And then you've got the nervous system. Now, let me tell you, there are probably 100 more body systems. And what the coolest thing is with the body is how it all kind of works together. And your skeletal system has to work with your muscular system, and the digestive system helps you get the energy for all these systems. And I want to kind of bring all these together. What else is cool with this is there are doctors and therapists and practitioners for all of these different things. So I've got a very good friend of mine who is a physio and a friend that's a physical therapist, and they're like the specialists on the muscle system. If you injure a muscle and they need to rehab it, you go to their clinic and they teach you how to get better with this stuff. I'm a chiropractor and I do a bunch of sports stuff in my office. So I work a lot with how the skeletal system and the muscular system and the nervous system all work together. And there's all these different doctors. The doctor that works on your heart is not the same guy that would remove your appendix. So if you're interested in this stuff and you think, man, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a nurse, or I want to be a physio, or I want to get into rehab stuff, or maybe you're just like the human body, realize you can go so deep with this and it's so exciting and so fun. And that's what I want you guys to bring together. So we're going to learn a little bit. At the end, I've got a little quiz. We can go over it. It should be a fun day to go over and see just what happens with the human body. So we're going to start with the skeletal system. Now, the skeletal system is usually where we all start because we all kind of know it. We can't see our own skeleton, right? We're covered up with skin and we have our blood. We can't see it, but we all know we have it. And by the time you're in elementary school, you already have gone through a lot of this stuff. Here's what I like to teach. We usually learn that there's like 206 bones in the body, but that's kind of an average, right? Some people have a little bit more. A lot of adults out there have about 210 bones. They get a couple extra ones where their body really needs it, so it can help with these levers and positions. Now, you guys in elementary school, you have much more bones than we do. Your bones haven't all fused together. And if there are 2 of them and they're growing farther and farther apart and laying more bone down, that's why you have more. You guys probably have more than 300 bones. And when you're a little baby, you start out with about 350. And as you get older, they start to fuse together. And most people won't even be totally fused together until they're about 25 years old. Now, most people think about the bones as the only thing with the skeletal system, but don't forget, it's also the joints. And the joints are where 2 or more bones come together and they allow for movement. So I think sometimes when we think the skeletal system and bones, we think like dinosaurs and fossils, and they just kind of are standing there and it's this boring skeleton. These things move all over the place. And this is the part that I love because I love sports and I love working with athletes and making them faster and stronger. Now, there's all kinds of different joints. Like your shoulder is like a ball and socket joint. It really moves around in there and it gives you so much motion. Your hips do the same thing. But then you have things like your fingers and your knee that just move a little bit. They basically move one direction. So there's all kinds of different joints. And as you learn more about the human body, you get to learn all about these things. There's hundreds and hundreds of different joints in your body. Even your head, it has joints that fuses this whole skeleton together, right? If you guys are deep into anatomy, you probably know that just your head and skull alone have 40 some bones. Now, those are all kind of fused together, but they still move very microscopically. Joints are where 2 bones come together. And I love the way the bones and joints work. Now, like I said earlier, bones are not fossils. They're not dead. They don't just sit there like a rock. They're constantly moving. There's cells that are always eating away parts of the bone, and then there's more cells that are laying more bone down. Now, you guys that are younger, that are in elementary school, you have more cells putting more bone into your system than you do eating away. But it's constantly remodeling. And that helps your body get good and efficient at whatever it needs to. So if you're an athlete and you need to run, your body will structure yourself to become the most efficient runner you can be. The bones that need more power will get stronger. Now, if all you do is sit around and play YouTube all day and look at your YouTube and you never want to get out and move, guess what? Your body is also going to make you very efficient at that. And it might not need super strong bones to sit on a beanbag and look at YouTube all day. So get up and get moving a little bit because you want your body to be strong. Now, there are two main ways that you can maximize or make your skeletal system the best it can be. And I want you to think about it. When I did the lecture live today, I just asked the kids, hey, do you know two ways that you can maximize your skeletal system? So what do you think they are? Well, one of the surest things you can do to maximize your skeletal system is eat the right foods. If you don't eat food that brings great nutrition into your body, well, then your body can't build its structure up better. We want to lay more strong cells down. And I tell my people all the time, if you were going to build a skyscraper, would you want to build it up with concrete and steel bars, or would you want to use popsicle sticks and glue? One of them is going to be much stronger. And it all depends on what you put in your body, on what the body can use for materials. So the biggest thing you can do for your skeletal system is eat well. The second thing is you need to have a demand for your bones to want to get stronger. If you just sit around all day and don't do anything, there's really no reason for the body to make itself strong. So the second thing you need is exercise. And it's not good enough to just go for a little walk when you're trying to grow bones. You need to have some strength. You got to have some power. So those muscles will yank on the bones and your bones will say, we need to get stronger. Now, we're talked about how the muscles and movement and exercise helps make your bones stronger. Well, what else do the muscles do? Well, the muscles are very important because they're what moves your skeleton around. And any of you guys that like doing sports, you love checking out the muscles, right? You want to see how they grow and they move because they're always growing and moving. So like in the picture here, you can see this is the bicep in the arm, and that's what we're looking at. And when that muscle flexes, it gets shorter and it kind of gets a little bit bigger, and it moves your arm this way. And then the tricep on the bottom side, when that pulls, that'll straighten your arm back out. So these muscles are always working together and against each other so that you can move your body. And the coolest thing is, after you've done this a few times, you're not a little bit of a baby anymore. Your body will start to take over. You don't have to think about it all the time. If you're going to catch a ball, you don't have to think, oh, I need to flex this arm and then come this, and then this finger needs to do this. It all just happens. Your body works amazingly together, and the muscles are what cause the movement. Now, there's something else that muscles do, and this is really cool, and a lot of times the adults don't even think about this, but the muscles also store a lot of your energy. So if you look at these pictures, this is your blood. And your blood has some of the energy in it. It uses mostly sugar in most people, but it can use sugar, proteins, or fats. That's the energy of the body, any of those fuels. You can also store some in your liver. So this picture up here is your liver. Now it can store some, but after so much energy is stored there, it spills it over. Your muscles store a ton of energy because you never know when you need to take off. If I'm playing soccer and I've got to make a run down the field because I've got a chance to stop someone coming at me for a goal, well, I got to be able to go right now. So my muscles are always primed up with fuel and it's ready to go. Now, if you have so much extra energy in your body and so many calories that you're eating all day, then your body will start to store it in fat. And if you know anybody that's super, super, super fat, that's because they're storing up way too much energy. They have too many calories coming in and not enough energy going out, and their body's storing it all that way. So that's another thing that muscles do that most people don't think about. They're kind of like our batteries of our body. They keep our muscles ready to go at any time. So how do you maximize your muscular system? And the pictures I used here are awesome because I have one guy up here and he's lifting what's called an Atlas stone. It's a great big concrete ball, and most of them weigh over 100 pounds. Some of them weigh up to like 300 pounds. and they lift them up. Well, you've got to be strong. You can't do that as a third grader and lift up a stone like that. Or like this girl over here. She's a runner for the Oregon Ducks. And you know what's cool about Oregon? They get all kinds of great Nike shoes whenever they want them. Well, she's super fast. Look at her muscles. Look at her body. She is ready to go at any time. There's things that you can do that make you able to dunk or make you able to throw a crazy fastball for your pitcher. So what are some of those things that you can think about that make your muscle system work the best? Well, the things that I like to think about that make my body work the best, especially my muscular system, is eating right. So just like the skeletal system, your body wants the right fuel. It wants fats and proteins and carbohydrates, but it wants the right ones. Doritos aren't your best thing to eat. They're not super nutritious for your body to use. I know they taste good, but that's not the best fuel for your muscles. And then you have to have exercise. Everybody knows that the more you exercise and the more you work out, the better your muscles respond. If you want to get great at riding your BMX bike, that's fantastic. Your body will respond to that. Everything counts as exercise, and you guys as kids should be getting a ton of this. You also need great sleep. Basically, what happens with the muscles is it's not like the bones where they just constantly are growing down and breaking down and going back up. As you work out and you exercise, your muscles kind of wear down. And the body is a miracle. It will replace those muscles even stronger than it was the day before. But it does most of this repair while you're sleeping. So you want to make sure you get good sleep. Again, if you're up at midnight watching YouTube videos about making slime, this isn't happening. You got to get it happening the right way. The other great way to make your muscles work and have a demand for this energy is to move around. Things like hide and seek and climbing and running. Get your body moving in all kinds of positions and you will get stronger. Probably all of you guys have someone that's a super gymnast in your class, right? And I'm guessing that girl has got crazy muscles. Even though she doesn't go to the gym and lifts crazy and she doesn't eat all these protein shakes and work out with heavy weights, she's just moving her body all the time. Those gymnasts know how to move and they practice it over and over again. And you can see the difference. Their body will adapt to it and make it stronger. And one of the newer things is stop freaking out and stressing up about everything. Just relax and don't always have high stress. Now, this is kind of a new thing. When I was going through school as a doctor, they didn't tell us that stress made a big difference on the muscles, but it does. So make sure you stay cool. And we're all a little bit more stressed out than we were a few weeks ago because things have changed. But you guys can deal with it. You're good. And your body can definitely deal with it. Let's start talking another system. Let's talk the digestive system. So I want you to go through and kind of name these parts. Well, the first part of the digestive system is your mouth. Now, your mouth and your nose are connected. So I suppose, I wouldn't try this at home, but if you had to eat something with your nose, it would probably work. It goes to the same system, but it's not a smart idea. Your mouth is built for it. Your nose is not built for that. The next thing it does is it goes down this long tube to the stomach. Anybody remember what the tube's called? It's called the esophagus. And the esophagus will take the food down, and it has this little peristalsis motion that constantly is pushing food down. It takes it to your stomach. And in your stomach is where all the process that works for our body starts. These acids and all these different chemicals in your stomach start to mix up the food and break it down into little pieces. And then it goes to your small intestine and your large intestine, and it continues to break down and digest. That's why it's called the digestive system, because it's digesting your food. It will take any food that you eat and break it down into the carbohydrates and into the proteins, and into the fats. From there, it goes into your blood, and we can take it anywhere we want to in the body. And that's what this whole lecture is about. That's what this whole class is about. Your systems all work together. You cannot make the muscular system and the skeletal system stronger if you don't have a digestive system that's working the right way. You have to be able to break down the foods the right way. You have to be able to get the foods through the walls of the digestive system the right way. So anyone that has problems here, they know they feel it in their entire body. In fact, people with trouble in their digestive system sometimes will even get rashes on their body. It's not because they have skin problems, it's because their skin can't get the healthy nutrition that it needs. If your digestive system is inflamed and nothing's working the right way, you got some problems. So we have to fix that. So that's the digestive system, and that's a really fun one to learn about. And again, there's specialists and doctors and nurses and practitioners that all they work on is this. They're the best at this one thing, and they get really good, and they get super specialized. There's some doctors that all they work on is the esophagus. That's how crazy deep you can get on this stuff. The next one I want to go over is the circulatory system. Now, the circulatory system is really important. In fact, it has an organ that if you don't have it, you're not going to live. And we should all know what that one is. It's the pump that moves the blood to the entire body. You guys know what this one is, right? Yes, it's the heart. And the heart is really cool because it's one organ, but it kind of acts as two different pumps. On the right side, we've got the pump that takes all the blood that's been through your body and it pushes it to the lungs. And in the lungs bring the oxygen in and put the oxygen in the blood so it can take it wherever it needs to go. And then it also has that carbon dioxide that we have to get out. So it exchanges it and puts it out. Now on the left side of the heart, that part of the pump is putting the blood to all the rest of your body, even to the tips of your fingers and to your toenails. It takes the blood everywhere. There are so many of those little blood vessels that if you took them all out and strung them around, it would go over the entire earth. And that's all packed into your body. It's incredible. It goes everywhere. There is blood as a transport system to grab the fuels and take them to where they need to go. It's super cool. And now when we're talking about the cardiac system with the blood and the heart, we better also talk about the lungs and the pulmonary system. Now, you guys have probably learned about the lungs already. The air comes in and it goes down the trachea and it goes in these bronchioles and it goes to each lung. And in the lung are the small alveoli. And they're so tiny on their skin that the air can go in and the oxygen can go in and the carbon dioxide can come out, and they can put that in the blood and keep your body alive and keep it healthy and get all the good oxygen to where it needs to go so your body can keep going. They're amazing. When the lungs fill up is when they get bigger, like a balloon. When your diaphragm down here under your lungs sucks down, your lungs get big. They fill up with air, and the air has a lot of oxygen in it. When they compress, they'll automatically push all the carbon dioxide out. Now, think about something on the planet Earth that does the opposite of this. There's something out there that loves to bring the carbon dioxide in and then gives the oxygen back out. Yeah, trees and plants do this, right? It's almost like they breathe the opposite of us. And not only does our entire human body work together with all these different systems, but the planet Earth works together. That's the way it's built so that we can all continue to go on. I just think it's amazing. You can tell I love this stuff. The next system that we want to go over is the nervous system. And it doesn't mean nervous like you're scared or excited about something. It means your nerves. The nervous system also has one organ that you cannot live without. It's this guy. It's the brain, and it controls everything. Your nervous system is so important because no matter where you need your information to go or what you need to move, your brain controls it first. In fact, if one of your friends came up behind you and tapped you on the shoulder, it's not your shoulder that feels that. That signal goes to your brain, and it has a map of your body. And it says, hey, something's touching you right here. And it sends it back like lightning fast. So fast you don't even know that the signal's changed. You also have signals in your nerves to tell you if something hurts or feels good, or even if like a tiny fly landed on you, you can feel it. There's so many different kinds of nerves, and those signals travel at different speeds. So one of the things I brought up with the third graders earlier today is, let's say you were skateboarding and you fell on your hand and you got it scraped up. The first thing you do is start shaking it and you rub it really light, right? Well, do you know why you do that? Is because pain signals travel 2 miles an hour. So from your hand, it goes all the way up to your elbow, all the way in your shoulder, all the way in your brain, and says, ouch, something happened. But when you start to move and you start to rub it lightly, well, those signals, they travel like 70 miles an hour, way faster. And they bombard your brain with more information. And then your brain's like, well, maybe it's not so bad because it doesn't feel the pain as much. That's the stuff that I love. I love to see how the whole body works together. Now, there is one part of the nervous system that acts a little bit different. The teacher that I talked to today, he had burned his hand on a stove before. He forgot that he had something hot on there and he put his hand on there and burned. But it happens like this, because in those signals that are called reflexes, your nerve doesn't even take the signal all the way back to the brain. It takes it up to the spine and right back. It has to pull your hand away so it doesn't get injured more. Your body's amazing. It knows how to protect itself already. So it uses reflexes. Now, as a sports nerd like I am, I love to use that stuff to help me figure out what kids should play different positions in different sports. For example, if you have very, very fast reflexes, it doesn't necessarily mean you're a better athlete, but you're faster and twitchier. So you probably end up being like a shortstop or a third baseman in baseball and softball. Whereas if you have a little bit of slower reflexes, you might end up in the outfield. Because if I'm the coach and I hit you ground balls, the guy with the faster reflexes would probably catch 98 out of 100 balls. That's really good. The guy with the little bit slower reflexes might still catch 96 out of 100, but 98 is still better than 96. That's the kid you want at shortstop. So the really high level athletes, we look for this kind of stuff. We want to figure out who's got what, how does their body work? Because every sport's got different positions that do better with different body parts. That's to me the most exciting part of the nervous system. Now the nervous system also has things that you don't have to think about. None of you guys have to think about breathing. None of you guys have to think about how your heart beats. You guys can be dreaming about flying to outer space and your heart and your lungs are still working the right way. And that's awesome that we don't have to think about that stuff. But you can override it. If you want to start breathing fast right now, you can. If you want to get yourself excited, you can make your heart rate start beating faster. And that's control stuff. And that's getting really cool when you can start looking at that stuff. It's a neat way to look at the human body. I love it. And of course, I love the nervous system. Now, here's my favorite part, guys. It all works together. Your body is this crazy, fabulous miracle machine, and they all work together. You can't just have one system by itself. So I might have my favorite systems because that's what I love to learn about, but that doesn't mean it would work on its own. We've talked about it a little bit, but look at the picture. In the back is a nervous system, and then the circulatory system, and then the skeletal system, and then the muscular system, and the lungs, and the digestive system, and they all work together. I like to use this example. If I eat something, it has to go through my digestive system. I have to have oxygen that I'm breathing to keep my digestive system working the right way. Now, my digestive system is going to break all the food up into these little cells. And the circulatory system, the blood, is going to take it everywhere it wants to go. If I need more muscle, if I need more bone, if I need the structure of my trachea to create more mucus so I don't get stuff down into my lungs that's not supposed to be there, the body knows how to do it all. The brain's controlling the whole system, right? In Mr. A's class, the teacher that works with the third graders, your brain does 10 to the 24th power, like quadrillion functions per second. So if you want to know what that is, that's a 10 with 24 zeros after it. That's how many things your brain's doing without you even have to think about it. All you got to do is come up with like, hey, what's 5 times 7? It's easy. You don't have to do all of it. But that's my favorite part, is how the entire body works together. Because I'm a chiropractor, and the type of doctoring I do is like a detective. I got to figure out, why is a certain thing happening a certain way to this person? And if all I do is look at the skeletal system and say, oh, it must just be this bone that's out of place, I'm missing the whole thing. That's not a very good detective. I got to figure out how all the different systems work together so I can make the best recommendation so you or one of my clients can get better faster. Now, if you look down in this corner, in that bottom corner down there, does anybody know what that is? That's a double helix. It's a spinny, twisty branch. That's a DNA molecule. Every one of our cells has that in our own body. And that is a really cool thing happening in science right now, that if you guys love the human body and the science, you might want to look into doing something with that. Because now they're starting to take out little tiny pieces of that DNA and figuring out how they can switch those around so people don't get sick anymore, or they get superpowers. Or in the case of the coronavirus, how we can kill a virus by changing the pieces in there. Is there something we can do that can make us immune to that or can make that virus not spread anymore? And that is going to be really, really cool science over the next couple of years. Like when you guys are coming out of high school and you're looking for a job and you're looking to figure out, what do I want to do? That's where the really neat stuff is happening. Okay, I think we've done enough with wrapping up the human body. It's hard to keep my third graders paying attention for 30 or 40 minutes. I don't expect you guys to. But I hope it's fun, and I hope it's a little bit different than the way you've been taught, and you can see how it kind of all works together. So let's go with quiz question number 1. Think of some body parts that work in 2 different systems. And you really can't go wrong here, guys. If you just want to guess a body part or an organ, almost everything in your body works with multiple systems. We've already talked about the lungs. The lungs bring the air in and are definitely the primary organ of the pulmonary system, but don't they also help get the oxygen into the blood, into the circulatory system? For sure. Think about your nose. Your nose is very important. It has the sensory information to tell you if things are okay to eat or if they're really stinky and we should stay away. They also help your taste, which we didn't talk a lot about, but it's very, very much tied to your nervous system. The nose and the nervous system all function very tight. But isn't it also very important for like the digestive system? Because all the stuff in your nose and your mouth are connected, and that helps get the foods in there. In fact, based on different smells, you might even start out digesting the food that you're eating in your mouth. And if you don't have that working the right way and the right signal is not going to your brain, it might not work out that way. Now, that was a really weird one, bring up the nose, because that's a far out one, right? How about bigger things, like the organ systems like the liver? Oh man, the liver's connected to everything. You guys probably don't even know what the liver is, but it helps store some of your glycogen, which is your energy for all the different muscles. It can put it into the blood. It helps get all the waste products out that are circulating around your blood so you don't poison yourself, and it puts those back in the excretory system. And your liver also is constantly playing with your blood and trying to make your blood work the right way, which is circulatory system. It's got so many different things it does. You guys can probably come up with a couple different organs or body parts that work in multiple systems. Something as easy as a finger, right? Muscle and joint, and we eat with it. You can do a ton. All right, the stuff that you eat, the food and drink that you consume into your body, that can affect multiple systems. How? How does that change stuff? Well, we already know it affects your digestive system for sure. When it touches your tongue and your body figures out, is this something sweet or is this meaty or is it more of a different taste? It will already start changing the way your digestive system will happen. The signals go to your brain and back lightning fast, and they tell you. But doesn't what you eat also change the way your muscular system works and your skeletal system? And how about even repairing its own systems? The stuff that you eat, I can't tell you how important it is. The medicine and the doctoring of the future, like 10 years from now, is going to have so much more importance on the food and drink that you eat. It's very important, guys. I know you love your candy. And I know Easter just passed, but what you eat and the quality of the foods you eat makes such a difference in your life. Start playing with it and see if you don't feel better, just as an experiment. Okay, most adults think about exercise as good for the muscle system. And that's the main reason they do exercise. They want to lose fat and they want to gain muscle. What other systems are affected by exercise? And you really can't go wrong here because it's this easy. Almost every system in your body is affected by exercise. We know it does the muscles, but didn't I say at the very beginning of this class that it affects your skeletal system? A ton. Your skeletal system doesn't even know if it's supposed to be getting stronger or weaker. It's all based on exercise. It's getting the signals from there. It also affects the way your foods are digested in the digestive system. And we know it affects your cardiac system and your circulatory system because when your heart is exercised and is tested and is worked, it gets much more efficient. It gets better at getting the blood to different body parts even faster. You guys are kids. You don't have to think about this much. When you want to take off and run and it's football time and you're going to catch the long bomb, bam, you're gone. But some of us that are older and don't exercise like that all the time, we have to really work it up. We got to warm up and we got to get our blood going first before we can do something like that. So the more you exercise, the better you get at your circulatory system. In the same means, that definitely works for your pulmonary system. You all know people that can run, and they can run for miles. But you also know people that can hardly run around the block. Exercise helps strengthen their pulmonary system and how much oxygen gets into their body way, way fast. Those are two of the easiest systems you can see. It works for everything. I can't tell you how important exercise and what you eat are. It counts for everything. All right, my last question, just because I think it's very age appropriate for you. What body systems are responsible for you getting taller? Because all of you guys are growing right now. Some are probably growing a little slower, and then there's other kids that are growing a little faster. My 6th grade boy, I got to buy him shoes like every 3 months. He's growing so fast. So what systems do you think change or affect how tall you get and how fast you get? Well, definitely the skeletal system. I mean, the main thing that's happening there is the growth in those bones. That's why your shoe sizes change. That's why your mom has to go buy you new pants, because you're getting taller, especially on those leg bones like the femur that just keep growing and keep growing and keep growing. In fact, most of you guys won't stop growing until you're in your 20s. It's incredible. Now, you're not all going to be super tall. That's kind of based in the DNA. But you're still going to change from what you were in 3rd and 4th grade, no question. Isn't your muscular system responsible for how tall you get? In fact, some of you guys, I work on kids all the time in my clinic, and some of them have heel pain. And most of their heel pain is because those muscles are getting stretched out so tight that they're yanking on that heel, and it hurts. There's other kids that feel awesome because they can go. There are kids that were awkward, and they were kind of goofy, and when they ran, they looked like a puppy dog falling over the place. And now they're getting to the point where they can really move the right way, and they can really throw a ball far, and they're starting to get their coordination back. That's definitely a big part of the muscle system working the right way, and the nervous system teaching the muscle system work the right way. And don't forget the digestive system. What you eat, it makes you grow to the maximum that you can be, right? There's even people from countries, especially like 20 and 30 years ago, that were starving and they didn't have the right food. They couldn't get in the right food. They get stunted growth. It may be someone that was supposed to be 5 foot 10 inches tall, and they only end up 5 foot 2 inches tall because they weren't able to eat the right stuff when they needed to. So all these different systems are responsible. Well, guys, that's the end of this class. I hope you like it. I hope you think it's really, really cool how all the body stuff works together. We're amazing machines. We were made just perfect. And although we all look different and act different, and some of us even smell kind of different, we all have these amazing systems inside of our body that are doing amazing things. Hope you loved it. Get back on. I know it's a tough time, guys, but you'll see your friends again. We're all going to be fine with this.